You're listening to The Bird Bath, presented by The Fountain Report. I'm your host, Ryan Leach. Welcome back to The Bird Bath. Each week we scrape the surface of the news you need to know, so let's get into it. Be on high alert for a new Florida man. Warning, because veterinarians across the state of Florida as of July 1st will no longer need to complete continuing education if they've been licensed continuously for at least 10 years and have no disciplinary action against their license. Now, hold up, because this is the most Florida thing I think you could ever imagine, but ultimately it was a mistake and a bit of an oversight in a state bill that was put through by the Florida legislature. So if you're a Florida veterinarian or if you know one, they just recently got an email the other day telling them that they no longer needed to partake in any sort of CE as long as they met those requirements. But what happened was Florida State Bill 382, which has become now law, excused experienced licensees in a number of occupations from continuing educational requirements. So the goal here was for licensees that fell underneath the Department of Business and Professional Regulations to have some more freedom to be able to be free of the continuous education. But what the legislature failed to realize was that in Florida, veterinarians are registered and regulated under the Department of Business and Professional Regulations, whereas all the other healthcare workers who are excluded are under the Florida Department of Health. So this was kind of a funny oversight, but it's something that could have a little bit of repercussions for a while. So Dr. Rick Sutliff, who's the co-chair of Florida Veterinary Medical Association's legislative committee, has been meeting with the legislature and Senator Ed Hooper to make sure that they present a simple legislative amendment, but it will have to wait until the legislature is back in session, which does not start until March 2025. So Floridians, go wild until March 2025 because you are free from CE. Now, curious enough, I wonder if there's going to be any impact for what people will see at one of the largest veterinary conventions, which is in Florida, in Orlando, with VMX every year. I'm wondering if we'll see anybody foregoing participating in that. So curious to see what the numbers turn out there, but always got to expect Florida to bring something fun for us. The next installment in the weekly Bird Bath insurance saga is good news, though. This was a fun one. So Policy Advisor is now being promoted through EasyVet. So the goal here, EasyVet, which is the practice management software owned by IDEXX, is going to be able to have people and users of EasyVet opt into services from the pet insurance comparison website Policy Advisor. The goal here is to allow people to be able to show their pet parents and the clients what is available for them in the pet insurance space. The difficulty of getting insurance, as we've talked through multiple times, one is the ability to discuss this. You must be a licensed insurance broker in order to present a quote to somebody. So companies like Policy Advisor bring an opportunity for pet parents to be able to see what these quotes look like, even if ultimately they see that they might be overly expensive. But what Policy Advisor spokesperson said, they said this integration increases pet insurance adoption for clinics, which in turn can increase their revenue and make treatment conversations easier for clinics. So awesome to see it. You know, I'm always a big fan. I want us to find ways to increase the access to care. And ultimately, if we can solve this with pet insurance, it would be spectacular. Now, EasyVet's not the first one to bring a pet insurance flavor to their PIMS. They actually already had some pet insurance integrated and built in with Trupanion Express, which is one of the more robust feature sets for the insurance provider to be able to have access to the PIMS, be able to pull out the information that they need. So EasyVet had that, but Policy Advisor is a bit of a different flavor here in the sense that it allows the pet parents to have an increased visibility into potential quotes. One other PIMS, just in my quick research that showed an integration within insurance space, was Shepherd, which integrates with their parent company's Synergy Pet Group's Pet Assure product. One more pet insurance news is from what I'm thinking is the new Mac Daddy and the big dog when it comes to pet insurance. Independence Pet Holdings has acquired Spot Pet Insurance. Now, this wasn't much of a surprise. They've been the underwriter. IPH was an investor in Spot, as well as they did the underwriting, customer service, claims, and a big amount of the other administrative services. So Spot was sort of working in their own facade with IPH in the background there, but it's become a full acquisition now. So if you're trying to keep score here, you're going to want to keep in mind there's IPH, which is Independence Pet Holdings, which owns Independence Pet Group, IPG. Now, within the IPH, which is a JAB company's portfolio, there are now 21 brands under that umbrella, spread out across IPH, JAB Pet Holdings, as well as IPG. One that we recently talked about was the acquisition of Pets Best from Synchrony, and the place that Synchrony now has with IPH on their board or in decision making and as a stockholder in the group. So continuous growth in the pet insurance space. I would love to bring some more insight context to you. I'm working on it in the background here. So if you're an insurance person listening to this, let's talk, because I'd love to bring a little bit more clarity to our listeners to understand what different people are seeing in the space. We're seeing numbers going down. We're seeing policies being canceled, but we're also seeing acquisitions from major, well-positioned industry players and continuing to hold and grow their footprint in the space. So it seems like every week I tell you all this, but it does seem like something that's got two different views on it, and I'd love to dissect it a bit more. Speaking of dissecting things, how about that for a link up? Ellie Diagnostics has introduced Ellie Specialty. The goal here is that they want to revolutionize diagnostic solutions for veterinary specialty hospitals. To get to the meat of what this meant, I sat down with the CEO of Ellie Diagnostics, Mark DeCourcy. Mark and I talked pretty well at depth sort of what goes into the current diagnostic landscape and what Ellie is hoping to bring to market with this specialty offering. And as Mark sort of opened my mind to the hurdles that go through diagnostic care and getting diagnostic tests done within a traditional clinic, and even so the greater level that goes within to a specialty clinic, it made a ton of sense as what they're trying to do here. So Ellie has brought out not just an increased level of customer service with their specialty concierge team. So they're providing personalized service, really like hands-on care for these specialty clinics that are looking at a ton of different things. But what I found the most interesting, and a lot of my brain goes to the technology side of it and the interoperability, but they're diagnostic kiosks. So what they've brought is another piece of software that layers on top of the Ellie Diagnostic software that clinics are already using. This diagnostic kiosk, though, is a central hub for ordering tests across multiple labs. So any university that specialty clinics are sending tests to now can go directly through the Ellie Diagnostic kiosk. So you're cutting out the need for finding your own shipping labels, printing your own shipping, packaging it yourself, dropping it off, making sure that you're filling out paper forms, which, goodness, blew my mind that there are still paper forms for such high-level science being done. But paper forms are out and a thing of the past with what Ellie's Diagnostic Kiosk does. And then it also allows these tests that perhaps are not fully integrated into a PIMS, bringing us back to our PIMS conversation, right, are now able to push that information in a digital fashion directly into many of the PIMS that are already integrated with Ellie. So really, really cool here. Finally, for larger hospitals, and I'd love to see people that are doing this. I know Just Food for Dogs actually will place people in clinic for the size of the hospital, but Ellie's now offering that as well. So a full-time on-site concierge for these larger hospitals to allow them to have someone that's going to handle the entire workflow for them. So really a cool thing. Mark, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me. If you want to learn more about it, I'll make sure that I link Ellie in the show notes. I think this is going to be something cool and a really cool way to show the bolt-on capabilities and the ways that we can find interoperability even in situations where we're expecting just a heavy workload of paper. So very, very cool there. Final story, though, is last week we talked about the availability of a scholarship for veterinary technicians, but this week I've got a scholarship from the Humane Society Veterinary Medical Association. They've announced their 2024 Compassionate Care Veterinary Student Scholarship, which will be awarded to 5 veterinary students who are currently in their first, second, or third year at an AVMA accredited vet school in the US, Canada, Caribbean, or the United Kingdom. So the students will need to demonstrate an interest in animal welfare, animal rights, or animal protection issues, and represent a commitment to equitable access and inclusion in veterinary medicine via service or lived experience. They're able then to be considered for a $10,000 scholarship. So definitely something that if you are a student, if you're in your first, second, or third year across an AVMA accredited college, make sure to apply for this. This is going to be something spectacular. I always want to find ways for people to be able to reduce this debt that they're accruing, and so that they can come out and participate in the industry with as much vigor and excitement as possible. Now, on my calendar, I've got a conference coming up in 2 weeks. I will be in Austin, which is my hometown, at the AVMA convention in 2 weeks. Going to be there the entire weekend, so be sure to reach out so that you can say hello. We're going to be doing some live recording, so if there's a topic or a person that you want me to track down so that we can talk to live on the show, send me a message, reach out to me on LinkedIn, send an email, go onto our website, find me. I'm not hard to find, and make sure that you let us know what you want to keep hearing. And for more on these and other stories, be sure to subscribe to The Fountain Report. There's always a link in the show notes. And don't miss out on any episodes by subscribing and rating the show. For The Bird Bath, I'm Ryan Leach. See you next week.